Regarding the sunset mechanism, I'm proposing 18 months. 6 months for having a clear perspective on the impact, and then looking what's going on. Let's see if this is the realistic period, but I guess it's adequate, and then we can really have a clear assessment what the agreement is bringing and how we could and should continue. In the Parliament, of course, we had a discussion about the deal and the proposals quite recently, and the Director General, Sabine Weyand, mentioned that this was the most terrible exercise she ever had, because I guess more or less everybody has criticized the situation in which we are living. And therefore, I think there is a big appetite in the European Parliament to improve the legislation. So it's clear, and I make no proposal to reject it or some other bazooka, which are still also in the discussion in the European Parliament. It thinks it's quite reasonable to improve the situation in our economic and political interests, because the Thunberg deal is just a starting point. I guess there is an agreement on some elements, but not in detail. And therefore, I think we should now use the opportunity also to negotiate with the US side on relevant elements, like the steel and aluminium issue. This is totally clear breach of the spirit of the agreement, and also regarding the standstill clause. So let's see how this is developing, and then negotiating with the US side. And we will now send this report to the shadow rapporteurs, and then we will have a discussion on the 4th of November in the Intercommittee, and then we will have a deadline for further amendments, I guess, so 1 week ahead, so it might be the 11th roundabout. And then we will see how many further amendments will come, and we have another exchange in December in the Intercommittee, and then, of course, we will look for having some compromise amendments. I assume that we will perhaps vote in January, and end of January we'll have the inter-meeting, and then we will see also, and this was also one part of the set of the question, what's going in the Council. And my feeling is that in the Council there is also a clear understanding that we should not give up the pressure coming from the United States. So this element of combining really strong suspension clause linked a little bit to the ACI regulation, and also the question of the sunset clause might be also elements which are discussed in the Council and might lead also to a position of the Council, because this is pressure coming from the United States linked to the agreement is there. We saw that there was a clear demand from the United States to change our digital legislation, to change our SBS standards on beef and on pork, and so on. I guess we should make clear that this is not acceptable, and therefore I'm sure that also the Council will have some ideas for this two legislative proposal, and perhaps we will have then a trialogue after the vote in Inter, so that probably finally in March or April we can vote in the plenary.
Thank you.